Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that's both intriguing and distressing. Why being involved with a narcissist can leave your life in a state of disarray. Here are 7 compelling reasons for this chaos. Let's get started with number 1, the erosion of self-worth. Have you ever found yourself confused and frustrated by someone's behavior, where their actions constantly make you feel insignificant or unworthy? Narcissists excel at this. They undermine their victims' self-worth through continuous criticism, blame, and belittlement. This persistent negativity erodes a person's self-esteem, making it difficult for them to maintain any semblance of order in their lives. Picture yourself being told every single day that you're not good enough. It's not just demoralizing, it's exhausting. This relentless assault on your self-esteem leaves you feeling inadequate and unworthy. When you don't value yourself, finding the motivation to stay organized or maintain structure in your life becomes an uphill battle. Victims often find themselves in chaos, not due to laziness, but because their self-worth has been shattered. So next time you see someone whose life seems disordered, remember they might be grappling with much more beneath the surface. Next, let's talk about chronic stress and anxiety. Victims of narcissistic abuse often appear perpetually stressed out. This is because they live in a constant state of emotional threat. Narcissists are unpredictable and manipulative, keeping their victims on edge continuously. This perpetual fear of conflict leads to chronic stress and anxiety. Victims are always second-guessing themselves, trying to anticipate the narcissist's next move to avoid trouble. This ceaseless stress is draining, sapping their mental and emotional energy. When you're in a state of constant stress, it's tough to focus on everyday tasks. Personal and household responsibilities get neglected, not because they don't care, but because they're too emotionally drained to keep up. Living in this perpetual state of anxiety takes a massive toll on one's well-being. So, if you notice someone whose life seems to be falling apart, understand that chronic stress might be a significant factor. Now, let's move on to number 3, cognitive dissonance. Victims of narcissistic abuse often seem confused because they are constantly dealing with cognitive dissonance. This is the mental struggle of trying to reconcile their love for the narcissist with the pain of the abuse they endure. It's an exhausting internal conflict. Victims are torn between their feelings and the harsh reality they face. This emotional turmoil makes it challenging to focus on daily tasks. Imagine constantly questioning your own feelings and memories. It's mentally draining. This mental chaos inevitably spills over into their everyday lives, making them appear scattered and unfocused. So, when you see someone struggling to keep things together, remember they might be dealing with deep-seated internal conflicts. Now let's address the issue of isolation and lack of support. Narcissists often isolate their victims as a means of control. They sever their victims' connections with friends and family, making them feel isolated and helpless. This lack of support is incredibly damaging. Victims have no one to turn to for emotional validation or practical help. Imagine feeling completely cut off from everyone who cares about you. It's a lonely and terrifying experience. Without support, managing life becomes a real struggle. When you're dealing with abuse, having someone to talk to can make all the difference. But victims of narcissistic abuse often don't have that luxury. They're left to fend for themselves in a world that feels hostile and uncaring. So the next time you see someone who seems isolated and alone, remember they might be fighting a battle you can't see. Let's delve into hypervigilance. Victims of narcissistic abuse often appear on edge because they live in a state of hypervigilance, constantly anticipating the next attack. Hypervigilance is like having your alarm system on high alert 24/7. Victims are always scanning their surroundings, looking for signs of danger. This constant state of readiness is a survival mechanism, protecting them from further harm. Imagine walking through a minefield, never knowing when the next explosion will occur. That's what hypervigilance feels like. Victims are always bracing themselves for impact, never able to fully relax. This perpetual state of alertness consumes a tremendous amount of mental and emotional energy. It leaves victims feeling drained and depleted, with little left to devote to self-care or maintaining a tidy living space. Think of it as running a marathon without ever getting a chance to rest. Eventually, your body and mind start to break down from the constant strain. Victims of narcissistic abuse often find themselves in a similar situation, struggling to keep up with the demands of hypervigilance. So, the next time you encounter someone who seems constantly on edge, remember they might be battling their own internal minefield, one that leaves little room for peace or orderliness. Number 6 is emotional exhaustion. Have you ever wondered why victims of narcissistic abuse often seem so emotionally drained? It's because they're dealing with a tremendous amount of emotional labor. Narcissists are masters of manipulation, constantly demanding attention and validation. They're unpredictable, with mood swings that keep their victims on their toes. This constant emotional roller coaster takes a toll on the victim's mental and emotional well-being. Imagine having to walk on eggshells every day, never knowing what will set the narcissist off next. It's mentally exhausting. This emotional exhaustion spills over into every aspect of the victim's life. When you're constantly on edge, trying to anticipate and manage someone else's emotions, there's little energy left for anything else. Victims struggle to stay organized and manage their everyday responsibilities. It's like trying to juggle a dozen balls at once, with no end in sight. Eventually, something has to give. Victims of narcissistic abuse often find themselves overwhelmed by the sheer weight of emotional exhaustion. So, the next time you encounter someone who seems perpetually tired and worn out, remember they might be carrying a heavy burden that you can't see, one that leaves little room for order or organization in their life. And lastly, trauma responses. Many victims of narcissistic abuse develop trauma responses as a result of their experiences. Trauma responses are the mind and body's way of coping with overwhelming experiences. Victims of narcissistic abuse may develop conditions like PTSD, which can manifest in symptoms such as flashbacks, intrusive thoughts, and emotional numbness. Imagine reliving your worst moments over and over again as if they're happening right now. That's what flashbacks feel like. They're terrifying and disorienting, making it hard to focus on anything else. Intrusive thoughts are like unwanted guests who refuse to leave. They invade your mind when you least expect it, disrupting your thoughts and emotions. It's exhausting trying to push them away all the time. Emotional numbness is a way of shutting down to protect yourself from further pain. It's like going through life in a fog, unable to feel anything. This numbness can make it challenging to engage with the world around you, leading to disarray in both personal and professional life. So, the next time you encounter someone who seems to be struggling, remember they might be battling their own internal demons, ones that make it hard to stay organized and focused. The disarray that often characterizes the lives of narcissistic abuse victims is a direct result of the psychological manipulation and emotional turmoil inflicted by the abuser. Understanding these reasons is essential for offering appropriate support and resources to help victims rebuild their lives and regain a sense of order and stability. Now, let's add at least 500 more words to this script to provide more depth and context to each of the 7 reasons discussed. This will help viewers understand the profound impact of narcissistic abuse even better. The disarray that often characterizes the lives of narcissistic abuse victims is a direct result of the psychological manipulation and emotional turmoil inflicted by the abuser. Understanding these reasons is essential for offering appropriate support and resources to help victims rebuild their lives and regain a sense of order and stability. If you appreciate content related to understanding and navigating narcissistic abuse, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more. Until next time, see you in the next video.